Hello everyone, my name is Eric Su and today I'm going to present the first Blockmesh of my level and of my game as well. My game is based on a 2D Sidescroller, but I guess we can say this at 2.5D because we see everything in a 3D perspective. Even though we can just move in two directions, will be to the sides and up by jumping. So yeah, it will be a full Sidescroller. And my level starts in as we are a space soldier that crashes on the planet and we land in the middle of the forest, so that will be the player start. We see we're in the middle of the forest here, and as we progress through the forest, in this first area I teach a player how to jump the space so they know they jump. And the second one is to show the player the max height they can get by jumping. And after that we come to this area where there'll be the first enemy encounter, and in this area I will teach the player how to parry. That's why the player cannot go back here, because it is mandatory to do to progress. So the player will have to learn how to parry in this area. And after parrying and killing the enemy, we come to this area where we can choose which path to go in. We go to the side, we'll go to the path in the middle of the forest, through the forest. If we go down, we'll go to the cave path, and if we go up, we'll go to a path that is in the top of the trees. So yeah, we'll see we have more enemies here, and we'll have to kill them to progress because they are blocking the way. So that we'll kill them, then let's say we choose first the path through the forest. We come here, we come to the other side of the forest, and we see some spikes here that are first introduced to a player. It's an easy jump, so a player can get used to it. And the spikes will produce damage to the player and will make the player respawn at the last safe platform the player was in. So we see there's more enemies. The player will have to progress, and we see these red spheres, which are there to represent power-ups. So for now, the player will see those red spheres and call their attention, which in the end it will not be red spheres, it will be something more representative. But we see there's more complicated platforming now, where if we don't land this safe spot, we will have to restart. So we have more enemies here that we'll have to kill by shooting to them. And if we get here to the platform, we get the power-up, which in this case will be the sub-objective, but it will also be a power-up of a dash. So if I press shift if I press shift, the player will dash to the direction the character is looking at. So if I want to get to this platform, for example, I'll have to jump and then dash. Then I can get there. I'll obviously have to kill this enemy. And now we can see this other power up, which requires the player to dash, because there's no other way to get there. So what the player will have to do is come back to this platform and dash and get an ammo upgrade in this case. So yeah, after that the player can keep progressing. In this case they will just keep straight, defeat more enemies, go through the forest, and after we defeat this enemy we come to this area where we see some larger spikes, and which will require more complex platforming, having to dash to reach the platforms we need to, like that. And we can see also the dash has a cooldown, so the player will have to be careful with that. I plan on introducing a HUD so the player is aware of when the dash is available. So we can see that's the way for another path. So we dash again, we get there, we get to the final area, which is the boss area. You can see some spikes here. As we got the dash, pretty easy, you can just jump and dash. We get to the boss room where we fight the boss, and this will be the end of the level. After defeating the boss, the game ends. So that's the first path in between, in the middle of the forest. So let's try now a different path. Let's try in this case a path underground through the cave. Just let this load. Okay, so this was already discussed. We began the level start in the middle of the forest. We just crashed our ship. So we keep going, defeating the enemies. In this case we go down here. This will be the path in the cave. which it's based on a crystal mine. That's why we have these glowing crystals. So here's when we first are introduced to water. The player will be moving slowly. It's a small introduction, and after we defeat this enemy, we can go through to the next cave area, in which the player will first see this power up there, but it's unreachable for now. There's no way the player can reach there with their current abilities. So here, more introduction to the water. The player will see that he moves really slow underwater and has really low jumping capacity. So the player will have to defeat the enemies, and we can see still we're not able to reach that power up. So the player will have to keep progressing through, defeating more enemies and getting to this other water area, which is more complicated. You see an enemy here, so we defeat it. We'll have to come here again. The water is not implemented yet, but it's a thought of making the player go really slow while underwater, so that will be a lot of a puzzle. So now we got another power up, which is in this case is double jump power up. You can see in once the water is fully implemented, the player could not do this jump normally. So the player will have to do a double jump in this case to get here. As well as to get here, we cannot reach with a normal jump, so we have to double jump here, defeat this enemy. And now, if we want to get the sub-objective, we can come back here. Now that we have the double jump, we can actually come up here. And now if we double jump here, we get this other power up, which would be a damage upgrade. So now we can go back again. You can see we've got a lot more mobility with the double jump. We finally come to this area, and again the water make the players lower, so it'll be the difficulty in this area, and the player will have to use the double jump to come here, as being underwater the player will not be possible of jumping this high. So after we done that, we come to this last area, which is again the boss area, but in this case we don't have a dash. In this case we got a double jump, right? So if we think smart and we jump here, you can see that we easily get to the other side with the jump, and we come to the final area, which is the boss area, and this is where the level ends again. So that's 2 paths, and let's see the final path. Just make it load. Okay, so finally we're here. Again, we will discuss this. The player start area. And if in this case I will go up platforming through here. And as I get to this platform, I go to the next area. In this case it's on top of the trees. We see more platforming. So in here I swing with the rope. So the player will swing when going in there, and I see those power-ups up there, those collectibles I cannot reach. So I'll keep progressing with the ropes. I'll swing, I'll defeat the enemies, and when I come up here I get this first power-up, which is a grappling hook power-up that makes the player be able to grapple to those red points. So right now if I press the designated key, which in this case is F, you can see a representation of what the grappling hook is meant to be, which in this case will be overlap or move to the grapple point. It's not fully implemented yet, and in this case we get another power up, which in this case will be a health power up. So we can keep progressing now, and now that we have the grappling hook, we can come here and we will make it with the rope. We kill those enemies, and we press the key again, we will grapple to the top point, kill these more enemies. Now we can grapple again, come here, and we can grapple again, and that will be for the area. And now if we cross here again, we'll come to that boss area again. So we can see that all 3 paths connect from the start to the end, but they are all different. And now if in this case I don't have neither the dash or the double jump, but if I use my grappling hook, I can jump here and go there, and I make it to the final room where I'll be the boss and the game ends. That will be it for my level. Thank you so much for watching.